I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Joshua, Zach, good to have you here. We're about to get started here in a few seconds. All right. Let's see. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the stream. Before I get started, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express and implied warranty of any kind. Please pause the stream, go through and read this. That way you know that this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is all for educational purposes only. You probably shouldn't listen to a single word I say. You should just click out of the stream right now. All right, you're still here, so let's get going. Let's take a look at all of this stuff. What we got going on for today? Ikla, good to have you here. Ed, hello, good morning to you. So I've got all of my pairs over here as always. I don't really have a huge teaching moment or anything today, but we're going to look at the opening range and initial balance. We're going to talk about trend trades and reversals based off of what is Monday and Tuesday done. The last live stream that I did, actually the past few, been putting up that tips and tricks slide, which everybody seems to have received very well. It seemed to be very useful for a lot of people, so that's really good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and check out my opening range and weekly template videos, and that slideshow is there. You can download it. You can check out that tips and tricks slide to help you with the weekly templates Monday, Tuesday, to give you Wednesday. Now, it's not foolproof. However, it is a solid guide to really help you kind of put into perspective Monday, Tuesday equals Wednesday. All right, so what are we looking for? Number one, I'm looking for signal days, as always. Always looking for those signal days coming into Wednesday. I'm going to look at structure. Basically, the structure of the market. Do I have a higher high on the inside? Do I have a lower low on the inside? And when I say the inside, I'm referring to the current week's range, or maybe even the previous week's range. All right. And then I'm going to be looking for opening range style of setup. So that Monday plus Tuesday equals Wednesday style of trades. If it has presented in a certain way, we will talk about that as well. And that sounded really off the wall. But I already have done some of my analysis coming into today so that you can see that you could do all of this the night before, right? I trade the New York session. However, even if you trade Asia or London, you could still do this the night before and then come into your session the next day to frame the day, and we'll be walking through that process as well. Tudor, good to have you. All right, Monday, opening range for the week. The high and the low is set. Then you have Tuesday, that is the initial balance for the week. And now coming into Wednesday, what are we looking at? We've got Wednesday, or excuse me, this is WTI, this is oil. And I've got a few things up here on my screen that I want to point out. Number one, I'm on a 15-minute chart, but if I were to go to a 1-hour chart, my annotations can be about the same. I had this high over here, and you can see that they pulled back. They went into consolidation, and then eventually they did break this high. So how do I figure out where my high and where my low is? This is my low down here because that is the lowest place that they have pulled back to after creating this high. So they pulled back, went into consolidation. That's the lowest place they pulled back to. This is where they broke that high. So I can very easily and objectively say, hey, that's my low on this 1-hour chart, excuse me. And then we've come up after making this new high, and they pulled back in 1 candle and 2 candles, which tells me that this is now my high. And I am just trading in between that high and that low, which also reflects very well kind of to do with the opening range and things like that for this week. Like, those levels really do make sense, so I'm going to put them up there as well. All right. Now, what has happened since then? The market has traded down, and they have broke, and they made a lower low. They made a lower low down on the inside of the previous week's range. Does that really mean anything for today specifically? It might. It might not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at yesterday's range, the high and the low, because of the pattern that it has formed. All right, they've came in sideways, they've spiked down, they've spiked up, and then now they have created this pattern. So I'm starting to get ahead of myself. That is talking about framing today. We're going to worry about that in a second. Let's focus on Monday, Tuesday. Monday is the opening range for the week, and that created an inside day. They did not hit previous day's high. They did not hit previous day's low. They traded completely on the inside of that previous day's range. They came down, and they have triggered the low of that inside bar first. So what does that do? My automatic belief is that whenever that happens, this is going to put inside bar trader stops at the other end of the range. Why? Because there are traders on a higher time frame who trade inside bars. So they have triggered inside bar traders into the market early at the beginning of the week. And then now, maybe, I have no idea, maybe they'll go back for those stops sometime soon. So I like to annotate that as information. Additionally, coming down, they have the Asian range here, and then they've spiked the low, they spiked the high. So this is peak formation high, peak formation low. This is all the analysis that I had before today. Now I come into today, and I start looking for this setup. We've closed on the outside of the opening range on a Tuesday. This is generally going to be a short signal for a breakout pullback continuation, if that were to have present in a certain way. However, one of the other setups that I look for is they break back up on the inside of the opening range, and maybe this breakout is going to fail over the course of 2 days. We've got volume caught down low, and now they're going to go back to reattack the high. I don't know. However, I've got all of my information up here and all those things that we just talked about prior to me even marking up the current day to help me frame what kind of setup I'm looking for. All of that being said, let's look at Asia. Asia is the opening range for the day. Coming into London, they have broke out of the Asian range and gone higher. So now I have my opening range, my initial balance for the day. They have pulled back up on the inside of the opening range for the week. This could be a breakout, failed breakout over the course of 2 days. And now we have space to not only get back up to previous day's high, but maybe, just maybe, they're going to reattack those other stops. Going from the low of the week back to the high of the week. A large dump for maybe a consolidation, and then maybe now a pump. We will see. All right, everybody good with this? If you all feel pretty good about that analysis and you truly understand, throw up a Y in the chat. Let me know. It'll help me out. I don't want to go too fast for you all. Morning, John. Good to have you here. Been watching your videos. Problem is your entry. Good stuff. Entry is easy thing to work out. All right. Everybody seems like they've got it. Let's go on to gold. Tony, I've only done oil so far. We're gonna get to NASDAQ here in a second. All right. All right, on to gold. Let's take a look at the analysis that I already have, and then we will talk about the day itself. All right. Monday, opening range for the week. Very wide range opening range. And also, we have been coming off of the peak formation. Boy, that was a whiles away. So, we've got the peaks down low. What was this, on Wednesday? I think that was day one of the 3-day cycle. This is actually a day zero. Tuesday, Wednesday, they spiked the high, spiked the low. Thursday went vertical. That was the first day of breakouts to the upside. Then we have 2 days, 3 days, 4 days of breakouts, and so that gives us at least 3 days of breakouts at this point. Now, coming into today, we've got those 3 days of breakouts, and obviously structure is still to the upside. I'm on a 1-hour chart. They're making higher highs and higher lows. There's been no 2 candles of pullback at all that I could really even use as a reference. This was the last time that they put in a high, and this is the last time that they went higher. So this is the low that I had put in place down here at previous day's low from Tuesday. That is a major level, a major low. This is the all-time high, so we're basically consolidating below that all-time high. Just because we have 3 days of breakouts in the market does not mean that this market has to go back down. There's a good chance or a good possibility that they are reaching for something. So I need to be very careful about still trying to counter trend this, especially with NFP on the calendar this Friday. They could continue to drag and drag and drag coming into NFP on Thursday and Friday. Well, NFP's on Friday, but coming into Thursday and Friday, you're trying to catch the reversal all this week. And then, Friday might actually be that trade. So we will see. So let's look at Monday, Tuesday. What has happened on Tuesday? Tuesday is a close on the outside of the opening range. And when that happens, I am generally going to look for a stop hunt low and then rise sort of scenario if that presents, unless the breakout fails on Wednesday and does something like that. As of right now, looking at the way that the day is built, that breakout has not failed. So I can continue to look for stop hunt low and then rise. This is my opening range and initial balance for the day. It seems like they might have a bit of volume caught down low. Asia, London, end of London in the gap time now. We have broke out of the opening range and initial balance for the day and have gone higher. This is my high of previous day, so maybe we have space to get from current price back up to not only previous day's high, but maybe we're consolidating below that all-time high to take that out as well. So that is the setup that I could look for. Stop hunt low, rise. Looking at low of day, I could be looking at low of session. Now that we broke out of opening range, maybe it's a breakout and a pullback for a continuation in New York. That is the kind of daily template that I could be looking for in combination with what the opening range has done. We're still currently in an opening range breakout. Let's see here. Do I only trade Wednesdays and Fridays? No, I took a trade yesterday. Okay, let's see here. Actually, how much space do I have to get back up to? Okay, so we're, 120 pips to get back to the high. That's plenty of space. We're all right. Now, on the flip side of this, we are making higher highs and higher lows. So if this were to break down and make a lower low Thursday coming into Friday, that would be good. That would be ideal when we're talking about 3 days of breakouts. I want to see them make a lower low before I start looking for that 3 days of breakouts sort of setup. All right, and them starting to trap volume in an area. All right, so I've got that in 3 days of breakouts. Let's go on to Euro JPY. And I am trading futures now. So I will be going over a couple of future pairs that I have found as well that I think might be good for all of you. All right, so Euro JPY, I had this as an inside day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, coming from the peak formation down on Thursday. They've came up for a couple of days now, and then we had a lower low back down on the inside of this week's range. You can see that more clearly down on a 15-minute chart. They were making higher highs and higher lows, and then this higher high right here confirmed this as a swing low, and then they broke down and made a lower low. They have continued that trend, lower lows and lower highs. They broke this low here, confirming this is a high. So right now, this is my low, and this is still my high. Let's go back to a 1-hour chart. This was an inside day, and they have triggered the low of this inside bar today. Yesterday, they have closed still on the inside of the opening range. So Monday's low, Monday's high. They have closed on the inside of that range. Obviously, it was an inside day. And then today, they have gone to the outside of the opening range and pulled back on the inside. So let's frame the day. Number one, I've got stops back at the other end of this inside bar, so I can mark those off just to let myself know that the market does actually have a reason to go back up, and I don't get married to some shorting idea. Opening range for the day, Asia, and London has spiked low, and then now they have pulled back up on the inside. So is this going to be a failed breakout at the low of the week, a consolidation? For the rise back to the high of the week, I have no idea. Dump, consolidation, pump, or dump, we're in consolidation, and then maybe this breakout of the opening range for the day will fail, and we'll get something like this back down to the low of the day. Those are the only two scenarios that I can look at based off of this template and what the day has currently done. I have framed the week. I have framed the day and established scenarios that I am looking for, and that way I will be prepared for either one. How y'all doing? It's mighty quiet out there in the chat today. We've got about, what was that, say 78? 78 people in here right now, which is fantastic. That is much higher of a number than we usually get in the afternoons, so it's really great. If y'all could just do me a huge favor real quick, it's still early in the morning, hit that like button. Really does greatly help the stream, and I do appreciate it. If you're here right now and you're enjoying that content, let me know. I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get on to Bitcoin. So like I said, I have been trading futures in Bitcoin. The thing that has always strayed me away from trading Bitcoin is not because the system doesn't work for Bitcoin, because it does, but because the spread on Bitcoin was so big that I was like, there's no way I could ever trade this profitably. There's just absolutely no way. The spread was like $150 to $200 or something like that, which is insane. But on futures, the spread is very tight, even on here on Bitcoin. So I am I have not taken a trade on it yet, but I've started watching it. And as of yesterday, we had a breakout at the high of the current week. And then they spiked the low of the week as well. That gave us day one, 3-day cycle. They pulled back up on the inside of the range. Monday, spiked the high. Spiked the low. Pull back up on the inside of the range, and then go into consolidation. So this was technically a first red day. We had a large pumping day. We've had multiple large pumping days. We had a very large M at the high of the current day. And then they spiked to the high, pulled back down, right? Made a kind of a sort of a lower low here. And then now we pulled back in. So what does that do categorically? Spike the high, spike the low, pull back inside on a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Who remembers my date or my, oh man, I might have just given it away. Who remembers that tips and tricks slide? Which template am I looking at right now? Outside of that first red day, we're going to ignore that. Okay, see heartbeat, day 0, good. Good. Loving the participation. I appreciate it. It makes my job a lot more fun. Awesome. Yes. it's really good to see that everything that I've been talking about, it's all starting to come out in the chat. Because if I'm teaching and no one's getting it, then I'm obviously doing something wrong. It's looking good. So we've got the spike to the high. They've spiked to the low. They pulled back inside. Now, this could continue to go vertical. It was first red day yesterday, but that honestly means absolutely nothing. If when I come to the screen today and I frame it, they just aren't doing what I would expect, right? Based off this first red day. So let's take a look at what is happening today. And I'm going to give you both scenarios that I could be looking for. Number one, the day zero plays out. They come up. We're in an uptrend. They've spiked the high. They spiked the low. They've cleared the board. They've gone back into consolidation. Asia was the opening range for the day. London is the initial balance. And we've gone back into consolidation. It looks like we might get sort of a little bit of a channel here forming. This could be a W down low at the low of the current week. Peak formation high and low. And maybe now we're going to go vertical to continue that uptrend. I don't know. That is a very good probability or possibility, right? And that would give us space to get from current price back to the high. And I don't know how much space this is. Give me a second to figure this out. That says 2,095. So I think that's the equivalent of 200 pips. See, I'm still getting my sizing worked out here on Bitcoin. But in like pip value and things like that. But I think that's 200 pips back to the high, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways. So that's one scenario, right? This channel plays out. We're in breakout mode back towards the high. They break out, they pull back, they continue. That could be one scenario back up. Scenario number two, they work the high of the week. They work the initial balance high. Maybe they break out, they go into consolidation for, I don't know, 1-2 hours. 9:30 opens up. The initial balance fails. And then we get that move back down to the low of the week. From high of week, back down to the low of week after first red day. That would be great. Either one of those scenarios would be beautiful for me. And I'll be looking for both. Can someone post the link to the appropriate slideshow? I probably should have done my due diligence in doing that. My apologies. After this, Ed, I will go and I will put that slideshow link in the description. If you look in one of my, the most recent... my most recent lives from last week, Ed, it's in one of those descriptions, the link to that slideshow. Not to make you go out there and do it, but if you want it right this second, it's there. Okay, so I've got Bitcoin in first red day. Do I necessarily think it's going to go down today? I'm not married to the idea. This could be breakdown, pullback, continuation, but this also could be failed breakout at the low of the week, peak formation low, peak formation high. And that pattern does seem to be forming. So we will see. Coming and looking at US30, Dow Jones 30. We had an inside day on Monday, opening range for the week. This is all analysis that I did last night, and then we will get into the analysis for the day. Yesterday, on Tuesday, we had a breakout of that inside bar and also an opening range breakout down to the low. They've gone back into consolidation. They've peaked down and then gone back into consolidation and started breaking back up towards the upside. So we have breakout trader stops right now at the low of Monday, which could be an area that they retrace to go back for the stops, right? We've got people trading that breakout. We don't want to just let them be in profit forever. So we need to do a retracement to stop out as many people as we can before actually continuing the trend. So that might be an area that they try to get back to. I don't know. But it's something that I want to note. We also have inside bar trader stops back up at the high of the week from that inside bar breakout on Tuesday. So I've got both of those things annotated. Now, not necessarily saying that they're going to go back to either of those levels. It's just information that I like to have when I'm making decisions to take a trade, if I take a trade. Also, an inside week last week. We could take a look at that. That'd be a good thing to look and see. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that was Monday's high. This was Wednesday. So that was the high. Yeah, so this is the low of 2 weeks ago was actually, yeah. So this is the low of 2 weeks ago. This is the high from 2 weeks ago. And then, like you said, high and low of an inside week. This was the low of last week. Good catch. All right, so maybe this very well could be a range expansion down at this point to go back for previous week's low. Let's drag this across here. All right, so that just gives me another level to look at, but we will see. Last week's low has been triggered. That's good. Let's frame the day. We'll take a look at opening range and initial balance for the day. Number one, they have pulled off of yesterday's low, and they have left a gap. They have not taken out the low of yesterday. So that gives us a little bit of space. Why do I even annotate that? Because I've seen this template before, and it either does one of two things. And you're going to be like, wow, Cam, that's fantastic information. It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. Let me explain. So this peak formation down low that consolidates and then breaks out and continues to break out throughout the day. This could very well continue to do that. Asia, London, New York. New York goes vertical, back up to get the stops. That is one template that I've observed in the past. I remember this. I've seen it before. These templates reoccur over and over again. On the flip side of that, maybe this pulls back up to, I don't know, like breakout pullback previous week. You know, we could do something like this. And then the initial balance for the day, it fails. Why have I annotated this down low? Because if that were to happen, that would tell me that this could be like 3 sessions of rise. Push 1, push 2, push 3, back to the high. And if I were to sell this market, I want to know that I should hold this for previous day's low back down to there. All right. Or at least take off a little bit here and then hold for the rest of the way down, because I have seen this template before. Not telling you to do exactly what I'm saying by any means. Remember, this is not advice. This is just for education. But that is what I would personally be looking for. So push 1, maybe back up, push 2. And then maybe now I'm looking for push 3 for 3 sessions of rise, New York session short. If the initial balance were to fail, that is what I would be looking for. All right. US30 was also, oh, yep, already read that. I appreciate that. All right, so let me get the ideas up here. We've got opening range breakout for the day that could do something like this. We could also get something like this where they come up here, they consolidate, initial balance fails, and then you get that move back down to the low of the day. Those are the only 2 scenarios that I'd be looking for. 87 in the stream. Holy cow. Webinar that week. I do them at 7 a.m. on Wednesday and on Friday. Sound is off. Is everybody sound off? Very well. Sound is back. How much did you all miss? I don't know why my sound is cutting in and out. All right, I'll just say it again. If you all are new here, I do these streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And I do them if I am teaching a webinar that week. If I am not teaching a webinar that week, I will do them on Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday and Fridays at to the NASDAQ real quick. It cut out again. Finicky. All right, I'm gonna try not to touch it. Can you all hear me now? I'm not gonna touch it. It's gonna stay right there. All right. We're gonna have a talk after this. It wouldn't be a Pips to Profit stream without some kind of weird, just obscene, like, technical difficulty. We're all good now? Everybody can hear me okay? Just throw a Y up there if you can hear me. I do apologize. I don't know what's going on with this mic. Okay. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. You're going to refresh your lip reading skills. Fantastic stuff. All right, we're going to go to the NASDAQ now. This is what I had yesterday coming into today. I have not looked at my charts today, so this is just the analysis that I had from the night before. I am still on that 1-hour chart. They had came up. Notice this was a pen, but that was still a high. They came up, they broke that high, and they pulled back, and they continued. So that was a level that I was watching. as potentially a major structural level, right? This is a previous day's low, but also it's a major structural level. That is a low. They came up and they continued the trend over here, and they made a higher high. They've came out of that high, gone to the high, gone into consolidation, broke down. First red day yesterday on Monday, or excuse me, 2 days ago on Monday, first red day trade. Beautiful. All the way back down. That's how it should behave. They broke down. They made a lower low, but they've put in a peak formation at the low of the current week. Notice the W down low. And they broke out and gone back up. So now I can frame my day. I'm not just married to the idea that it's going to go down today. I have no idea, but this is a very similar template to kind of like what US30 was doing, with the pulling off of the low at the end of the day, leaving a bit of space to get back down to that low. And this peak formation down here, they've came off and they have broke out and they are starting to trail back towards the high. Opening range for the day, initial balance for the day, they broke out and they have continued to trend up higher. The scenarios, however, for this and for US30 to me are exactly the same. Breakout, pullback, New York continues. Or we continue to consolidate. They've tried to go higher outside of the initial balance. The initial balance fails. 930 opens up. And we get that move from high of day back down through the low of the current week. Those are the only two scenarios that I'll be looking for. And I really like the indexes today. It seems like they are trading very clean. But we have news at 10 o'clock as well. So I would be very careful. Ed, how do you determine major structural levels? I'm on a 1 hour chart. It makes it very easy. The high and the low, right? So for example, they pinned up through here. So actually we could do something like this. All right, so notice how this came up. They made a high. They pulled back in 2 candles, and that was my established level. Over here, they just pinned up through it. That's not a break, right? And then they pulled back. So this is the lowest point that they pulled back to before actually breaking this high. So this was a major structural low. Once they broke that high, they went higher. They pulled back in more than 2 candles. That gives me a high. And then this is the lowest point that they pulled back to before they broke that high right here, which gives me my structural low. Now, if I were to go down to a 15-minute chart, you're going to see that the swings look very different. There's a high, a low, a higher high, a break in structure down. That made a lower low. That makes this a major structural high, but it's much easier if you do all of that just on the 1 hour chart. You'll find that finding the swings is much easier, but then if you come down to a 15-minute chart, you just have that level in place, and you understand that, hey, we're in a major uptrend. They just broke structure to the downside. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to go down. It could just be them establishing a major high, but if you want to avoid all that, just go to a 1 hour chart. Do it like that. It makes it very easy. Okay, so looking for pumps and dumps. Dumps and pumps. We've got a large dump, maybe for a pump now. Also, maybe a breakout, pullback, and continuation. Monday, Tuesday equals Wednesday. Tuesday has closed on the outside of Wednesday's low. Wednesday's low is all the way up here, so I guess maybe we do have some breakout trader stops sitting up there. These guys are in profit. Maybe this, they've traded the breakout of previous day's low. They're in profit. They've called all their friends. They're telling them, hey, I'm already looking at Lamborghinis. This is going to go 700,000 pips, and I'm going to be a millionaire. They've got their stops at break even, though, so they're safe. We'll see. We'll see how they go. See if they get taken out. All right, let's go to US dollar CAD. We'll take a look at what that's doing. Okay, so these were all my annotations from last night. I got a close on the outside of the opening range on a Tuesday. You can see the spike up and the spike down. So there was a spike to the high in London. There was a spike to the low in New York. I'm referring to the spike from this right here. This is the Asian range from yesterday. Uh-oh, I've extended it. I didn't want to do that. There we go. All right, so you've got the Asian range from yesterday. They've spiked the high, they've spiked the low, and then they closed on the outside of the opening range. But now coming into today, this is kind of what I'm talking about. You got to close on the outside of the opening range. That says, hey, I should be looking for a long. Except the market is breaking back down on the inside of the range. Is that supposed to happen? I would argue and say probably not. So what I can do now is I can say, okay, well, this was my opening range for the day. I was looking for them to layer on top based off the pattern and based off of this outside close. They were supposed to layer on top and then go vertical. Asia was supposed to make a higher high. London was supposed to pull back. New York is supposed to open up and go vertical, which still could happen. So I'm going to mark off my opening range and initial balance for the day and see if the breakout fails. However, market only does three things. Breakout fails over the course of 2 days. Breakout succeeds back down to the downside for the day. Maybe breakout pullback continuation. Breakout failed over the course of 2 days, and maybe we're going back for the inside bar trader stops from Monday. Pump, consolidation at the high of the week for the dump back down. That is a possibility. That is a probability. And based off of the setup that could be forming, that could also be something that I look for. Major red news at 9. Good stuff. Yeah, I know we got major red news today. Somebody, was it Powell, is speaking at 10. They just love to put it at the end of a session in the morning. Thanks. I guess he wants to get his sleep. Who knows? All right, let's go to US dollar, Japanese yen. Now, I left some of these down here, and I have not done any analysis on them because, frankly, I just didn't really care to. I could not be bothered to look at some of these pairs because, let me explain. Number one, US dollar, Japanese yen has created this enormous range. All right. They made a high right here. This is a 1 hour chart still, Ed. So if you're thinking about like major and minor levels, there was a high here. They broke the high. They pulled back in 2 candles, and then they went higher. All right, so they confirmed this as a major structural low. They came up, they pulled back in 2 candles and confirmed that as a major structural high. And then now for the past, what is this? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we're into like the 4th week now of trading range. And they've been going up, and they've been going down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and I don't like to play that game. I don't play that game. I'm not going to bend to the market's will and get caught all in this range, all right? I am going to wait for them to go to the outside of this range, and then I will look at this pair again. That being said, I'm not going to look at this. We're going to put this in nothing, and if something changes throughout this week, we will take a look at it. But other than that, I'm going to ignore it. Now, the US dollar the Swiss, right? Now, this is one that I actually had just saved because I wanted to talk to you all about it. Friday, closing range for the week, whatever. Friday's range coming into Monday. Monday, opening range for the week, right? High and low. Tuesday, attempted to go outside, sort of, kind of just pinned up through there. Let's take a look. There was one solid candle close above there. Call it what you will. However, this pattern that has showed up here, Friday, this big spike to the high, and then coming down on Monday with this big spike to the low, I think this is an interesting pattern. Because Thursday, Friday spiked previous day's high, Monday spiked previous day's low, and then pulled back inside of that high and that low, and then now we've kind of started this little pattern here, and I think it's noteworthy. I think it's worth, I'm going to butcher that. I'm just going to call you A, all right? So I don't butcher your name. I do apologize. But you are 100% correct. I do believe that this is a spike high, spike low over the course of 2 days, sort of day zero pattern. And we have a 3-day setup now, maybe forming based off of that. All right, and I'm going to get my channel up there. In fact, I'm going to adjust this channel because I think it looks more like this. Peak formation at the low of Tuesday. Down. This is a W. They've engulfed. They pulled back, and they've continued. They even pulled back to that W in 3 pushes. Push 1, push 2, push 3, and then they've engulfed and gone back up. So Asia, London, I need to frame my day. They have stop hunted low, and they have also gone back to the high. So I am waiting for this to turn into breakout, pullback, continuation. I'm waiting for this breakout to break out, and maybe it could even fail. I am not married to the long idea at all. They could come up here and work the high, and it could fail and break down and maybe go back for previous day's low. But based off of me framing the day, the levels are very, very clear. The pattern is very, very clear. I have framed the day. Everything is very clear. And I can just come into 9:30, 10 o'clock with confidence in what pattern has developed and formed. All right. 10 o'clock, major red news. Yes. Powell speaking, and I think there was some other news as well. I can't remember exactly what news event it was. So this is going to go up into the squeeze and the heartbeat pattern. Is everybody good with this? Understand the scenarios? Do y'all understand the thought process that went into this analysis? You know, I don't really have a very solid... I don't have signal days. There's no 3 days of breakouts or anything like that. I am just working solely based off of these peak formations. If you could just throw a Y up there, let me know that I'm not going too fast. It's early in the morning. I'm caffeinated, and I don't want to speak too quickly and rush through this on accident. I want to be... This is for you all. This is not for me, so I'm trying to provide as much value as I possibly can within this 1 hour. All right, let's go on to Euro USD. We'll take a look at the Euro USD. All right, so on Euro, we had an opening range breakout as of today, but yesterday that breakout failed. All right, going back to tips and tricks slide. So after a breakout that fails at the high of the current week, so opening range, initial balance, you would look for this market to go back to the 50% or the other side of the range. That happened. They went back to 50% in reverse. They didn't quite make it back to the other side of the range. That is okay. I'm not upset. I come to the screen today and I see what has happened. Hey, this was the opening range. They closed back on the inside. It tried to get back down there and failed. And then for the day, breakout of the opening range for the day, breakout, initial balance. We're at the high of the current week, making higher highs and higher lows. And I did leave just a small itty-bitty space to get back down to the previous day's low and also the previous, or the low of the week. Let's see here. There we go. So I'm not saying that they're going to come back down there and get it, but we'll see. All right. And then also now, as of today, we've got the first day of breakouts, the second day of breakouts, and today is that third day of breakouts. As of yesterday, when I did this analysis, we only had 2. There we go. Other time frame traders are driving the move, or other time they're triggered in at the previous day's high and low. So the other time frame traders are either going to drive the reversal or they're going to drive the continuation, John. So like right now, we have gone out of balance. We've also gone outside. So other time frame traders are triggered in at the previous day's levels. Okay, so scenario-wise, what could happen? 3 days of breakouts. We're on that third day of breakouts. Maybe we consolidate and work initial balance high, also high of current week. It fails. We go back down, we get the money on a Wednesday. Option 2. Maybe it breaks down, starts to consolidate, breakout, pullback, trend continuation, back up towards... Have we already triggered previous week's high? Monday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so this was previous week's high here. That's previous week's high from 2 weeks ago, but we have already triggered previous week's high, so we are up high. That would make me nervous. All right, previous week's high triggered in. Let's see. 3 days of breakouts. No other signal day yesterday. I've got my close. We've gone higher today. Instead of that breakout failing, we've gone higher. All right. I'm going to put this into, let's see. I kind of want to watch this. I'm going to put it up here and pump it down, but I'm going to highlight it. All right, let's go look at pound dollar. Wow. Similar, but also slightly different. Now, that's actually interesting. So I talked to a gentleman last night, and he was asking me about the different scenarios and things like that with this template. So I couldn't see any of this. And I told him the exact same thing that I'm telling you all right now. And I even drew like a little picture. I wish I could go get that picture. But basically, like Asia, if Asia breaks out or London breaks out, we pull back up on the inside of this breakout level, right? Because the idea is that this breakout has failed and that maybe they'll work this and then break down. But if they pull back up on the inside or to the outside, really, I guess, of Monday's high and then work it to go higher, that could be a trend trade opportunity back through the high of the current week. And on the flip side of that, they break down in Asia, London, and it does this, right? That would be in line with that failed breakout. And then looking at today, we'll go back. You can see now Asia created the opening range or the opening range for the day. We broke back up on the inside. We've gone back up, or I guess again on the outside. The outside of Monday's high, they broke back up to the upside. We've gone back to previous day's high. They have not triggered it. Opening range and initial balance for the day. So now I would just be waiting to see, is this breakout pullback for the continuation? Kind of like an A, B, C, D pattern, I guess. Would this be like A, B, C? Maybe we're looking for D. I don't know. But this little gap here, they have not taken out previous day's high. Is the breakout going to fail over the course of 2 days? Or is this breakout pullback for the continuation back up? Based off of my framing of the day, I can look at for one of those scenarios. And I actually do think that I like this more than the euro. So I'm going to delete this. But I also have some other pairs that I like a bit more. All right. This is one of the new pairs that I've added to my list. Pleasant surprise. Good stuff, AJ. Good to have you here. Yeah, I don't have a webinar this week, so I'm able to do these. One of the new pairs that I have started watching, I have not taken a trade on it, but this is natural gas. This is specifically, let's see, what is this called? It's like Huber... energy. Yeah, Henry Hub natural gas futures. This is one of those pairs that I've started watching. The reason I've started watching it is because it seems very clean. It looks very nice. The 1 minute chart has enough volume to actually show me what the candles look like, which is one of the struggles that I have been dealing with futures, is that if I look at like currency pairs on futures, like they are just, you could tell maybe the broker volume's not there or what, but it's a little bit more difficult to read some of these. In fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. I know I just said I was going to go over natural gas, and then you're all like, oh yeah, cool, and then I start doing something different. So hold on just 1 second. We'll take a look at some of these currency pairs, and I remember the exact, yep, this one. So like Japanese yen, right? We'll take a look. 1 minute chart of Japanese yen. Looks okay in London. Actually, this one doesn't look bad. Doesn't look horrible. But you can just kind of see that the candles are a little bit different. They're a bit more difficult to read price action with these candles. So I have to still use my Forex. If I want to trade Japanese yen, I'll just go look at a Forex pair to give me reference of when to get in and things like that. There was another one, though. Like some of these currency pairs, though, you can tell that they're very low volume, and it's a little bit rough. Light volume. Yeah, that's why I don't have silver up there, Jarrett, because silver is another one of those that I was like, I could trade silver. I could trade, I think copper was on there as well. And I started getting interested in all these different things that I can now trade, that I'm trading futures. But a lot of them you can just tell, like, there's no way I could ever actually take a trade on this because it's just so... let's take a look. Yeah, like silver doesn't look too bad. Like maybe I could probably put silver on there, and I might in the future. But anyways, sorry, I got off track here. Let's go back to natural gas and let's take a look. 1 hour chart. Okay, so natural gas, 1 day of breakouts. This was not an inside day. They pinned to the high and it's pulled back up, and we're basically just sitting on the inside of the range. I did not see any sort of setup on this. as of right now for this week. So I just told you all that I've introduced a new pair, and I'm excited to start trading it. And then I came directly immediately after that and told you I don't see anything on this pair. So, you know, it is what it is. But maybe in the future, there will be setups on this. The other one that I've started trading is Bitcoin. I have not taken a trade on it yet, but now that I'm trading futures, Bitcoin is on the table. The spread is actually very thin. This is actually a, let's go down. Yeah, that's, so like my spread on my broker, this is very accurate. This is about what it would look like on my broker as well. So pretty good. Struggle streaming. Uh-oh. Euro Australian dollar, check the one. Let's see. Okay, we can do Euro Australian dollar. I've got about 9 minutes, so we can, we'll do that. Euro Australian dollar, we'll take a look. Gonna go to the 1 hour. Yep, I noticed that as well, William. So like the Bitcoin has a micro futures as well, and that chart actually looks a lot better than the full-blown futures. I call it full-blown, I don't know why, but you know what I'm talking about. The so like yeah, some of those micros definitely have a little bit more volume. Okay, Australian dollar or Euro. Yo, man, I can't speak all of a sudden. Euro Australian dollar. Opening range for the week, Tuesday closed as an opening range breakout. Expecting higher prices on the following day, except now Asia, London, they have broke back down on the inside of Monday. So my question to myself would have to be, are they going to work the low, maybe pull back up, do something like that? Or is the initial balance going to, you know, basically break out of the opening range, do something like this? I don't know. As far as signal days go, did I have 3 days of breakouts yesterday? We've got 1 day of breakouts, 2 days. So no 3 days of breakouts. This was not a first red day. It was just an opening range breakout that has now maybe failed on the following day. And that is about it. All right. 160 of you in this stream right now. That is fantastic. If you all could just do me a huge favor, hit the like button real quick. And if you have any questions, anything you want to say, maybe you missed a pair, you want me to go back over something, I've got about 7 minutes that I can do that. Paulie, appreciate that. ES, I mean, I've already kind of done, well, hold on. Hey, so ES is going to be the exact same as NASDAQ and so see the pattern? NASDAQ, US30. It's pretty much the exact same pattern. So when we're thinking about what I've already put up there for these other two here, US30, NASDAQ, big move down, opening range, initial balance for the day, either breakout, pullback for that continuation back after the stops, or initial balance fails, and we go back for the low. Love the morning streams. I am going to do another one on Friday. Dances. And then I actually am teaching a webinar next week, and I actually do have a couple spaces left if anybody would like to attend that. I have that. Uh-oh. I just touched my mic. Everybody still got audio? I've touched it. I goofed. All right. So I have a class next week. I do not have one the week of the 18th, so I'll be doing morning streams that week as well. And then I am teaching another class on the 25th of this month. So pretty much every other week, I'll be able to do these morning streams. Okay, how to enter on a trend trade. That's good. Okay, so if I am looking to take a trend trade, let's say that the market is breaking out, and I say, hey, this is pulling back, and it's especially here on the 15 or 1 hour chart, right? It breaks out and it starts to pull back down to a level. Well, we're in an uptrend currently, right? We're making higher highs and higher lows, so I could take that trend trade back up through the high. We could say that. Down on a 1 minute chart, since we are looking for dumps and pumps and pumps and dumps, right? I need this market to start dumping. I need them to make a higher high, which they have. That's good, right? They broke. They made a higher high. I need the 1 minute chart to go into a downtrend. Because what we're looking at is the higher time frame. We're looking at the 15. We're looking at the 1 hour. It's breaking out and going higher. So we're breaking out and going higher, right? It's a trend trade. But the 1 minute chart, I want it to dump and start making lower lows and lower highs. And then I want the 1 minute chart to make a higher high. And I want them to pull back down in 3 pushes and give me some sort of W and an engulfment around a certain time of the day. That is what I would look for a trend trade. That is also how I look for a reversal trade. So, for example, we have the opening range and initial balance, right? Maybe because the overall market is going down. And we had that other idea, push 1, 2, and maybe 3. Okay, I'm going to come down to the lower time frames. I can look at the 1 minute, you can look at the 3 minute, you can look at the 5 minute. It honestly does not matter. Once they start working a high, let's say that the market breaks out and does one of these, and it starts working the high. Maybe they spike up, they make a higher high, they spike low, they make a lower low, they pull back in. That tells me I could start looking for a reversal trade if this all happens in my session at a certain time of day. Maybe like this is the first hour, maybe this is the second hour, and the third hour is about to open. And then on top of that, I want to see the initial balance for the day fail. So if I take this trade right now, I better be holding that position with the understanding that the initial balance for the day should fail, and I'm going to put my stops appropriately. They should not come back at this point. It should just go and do something like that. So the way that I look for trend trades is very similar. It's just about really about the timing, right? And what the market has done. If this is going to be a trend trade, they're going to break and make a higher high and pull back and make lower lows and lower highs, and then at some point make that higher high, pull back, and then go vertical. Relative to, they're up here, they make a high, they're consolidating, they make a lower low, that pulls back in 3 pushes, and then the initial balance for the day fails. That breakout would fail, and that's how I would look for a reversal. You can do the same thing from the low of the day. If they were to, not on this pair, but if they, like over here, right? If they were to have spiked to the low of the day in London before rising, you could have taken that as a reversal coming off the low of the day. Additionally, look at this. They made a higher high. They pulled back. They've pulled back. They put in a W. They've engulfed it. They put in another W and engulfed that as well. Breakout of the opening range high for the day. Dump. Consolidation for the pump. Up, right? That could be considered a trend trade as well. Hopefully that explains everything. I've got lots of videos on my channel that will explain that in much more detail. If you go look at the market structure videos, I've got trend trade and reversal videos as well. Some of those should help. Man, I keep touching this mic. It's like a nervous tick or something. I need to glue my hands to my leg. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go over to Discord now to trade live. It's in the public channels. Anybody can join. So if you would like to join Discord, the link should be in the description of this video and all of the other videos as well. If you would like to do that, I'm there. If not, you'll have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next live stream this Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. You have a good day. Bye-bye.